Welcome back. Thank you for staying with the Hot 7 Nightly News. Former External Affairs Minister Alva Baptiste is blasting the Alain Chastanet administration's policy structure, saying their recent decision to both denounce Venezuela's Maduro administration while accepting a new Venezuelan ambassador highlights the government's incoherence to make sensible decisions.
Alva Baptiste, who is the island's former External Affairs Minister with the St. Lucia Labour Party, did not mince his words, nor did he hold back his views about the Alain Chastanet administration's policies. With the ongoing confusion surrounding the legitimacy of Venezuela's president, Nicolas Maduro, Baptiste was asked whether the St. Lucian government was being contradictory by accepting a new Venezuelan ambassador whilst not recognizing Maduro's presidency. Baptiste spared no bones whilst giving his response.
When you have a government suffering from multiple personality disorder, that's what you get. You know, when the SLP was in office, we assume a particular posture in terms of our foreign relations. We have an administration, you have no idea where they are headed. It is like the story about the father, the son, and the donkey. All along the way, different people give them advice, and they end up doing different things. The father and the son carried the donkey up to a point. Then the father was on the donkey, the son was walking. Then the son ended up on the donkey, and then, you know, it was just mass confusion. When you do not have a rational and convincing proposal for the development of the country and for foreign affairs, our external relations are in a mess. So when you accept an ambassador and you say you don't accept the outcome of an election in the country, then that is a bitter contradiction.
Baptiste said this decision clearly states that the government has no coherent policy on anything. He went on to say that the government's cabinet structure was created haphazardly and will only lead to chaos.
The cluster cabinet, this is like an amoeba. It's claustrophobic. They have all sorts of problems inside of there. It's a manger cochon kind of arrangement. And you cannot get anything of worth from some kind of manger cochon scenario. So you ask the Prime Minister one thing, he says something else. Then you speak to the minister in the ministry for different view. Now she's not the minister, so she will be very careful as to how she responds to your question. So clearly we need to re-establish order in this country, including in our external relations.
St. Lucia has long enjoyed an amicable relationship with Venezuela. However, the SLP fears that the government's recent decision to not recognize the country's president, thus interfering with the country's internal affairs, could put a strain on said relationship. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Thank you, Rochelle. The island's National Security Minister, Hermangild Francis, has expressed deep concerns about the details surrounding a kidnapping attempt on a 9-year-old last week. The incident occurred in Cicero after the child reported that a masked man tried to grab him on his way from school. Senator Francis says he views the brazen incident as a very serious matter, particularly with reports suggesting a lackadaisical police response to the victim's family after the alarm was raised.
I've told the Commissioner that I want to see action taken, so he has assured me that a senior officer is investigating this matter. And if it is found to be true, I can promise you that something will be done with the police officers who spoke to the lady in those terms.
Francis also spoke on the matter of teenager Jada Jabatis, who has been missing for over a month. He indicated that the matter is a sensitive one.
Even listening to the mom, you would realize that there might be some issue at home. So it might not be a situation where she is kidnapped or forced out, but actually went there maybe. And why she ran away from home, this is something that we need to find out.
The minister was not willing to make a statement surrounding the case, as he said there are clear indications that it is rife with internal issues which would lead him to believe that Jabatis left home for specific reasons. In other news, efforts to develop and implement a drug policy for schools will be undertaken as the CARICOM Secretariat hosts a regional conference at the Auberge Seraphine Hotel. More from Fennel Neptune.
Health and Family Life Education coordinators and stakeholders from across the Caribbean Forum, CARIForum, met recently to review the draft model school drug policy. Participants were granted the opportunity to establish guidelines aimed at addressing substance use and related issues in schools. Deputy Coordinator of the Substance Abuse Unit in the Department of Health and Wellness, Joanna Joseph, says such an initiative is important as it will assist with prevention and elimination of substance use in schools.
Very important policy when we look at our social climate and what's happening in our schools and what's happening in our societies. We think that it is very, very opportune that we come together as a Caribbean, as a CARICOM organization to develop this school policy, something that can be modeled for all of us in the Caribbean, but can be adjusted to suit the needs of various islands and education system as needed.
Coordinator for Health and Human Development at CARICOM Secretariat, Beverly Reynolds, says it is necessary that guidelines are established as to promote a safe and substance-free environment to support student learning.
It's important to set a framework within which persons within schools can work, right? So we say a school drug policy because we think that at the center of a lot of what is happening is the challenges that young people are facing as it relates to push and pull factors, pressures to use drugs, and there have been links showing drug use with other antisocial or undesirable behaviors, including acts of violence on school compounds.
It is expected that the draft model school drug policy will guide member states in the formulation of the national policies where necessary. Reporting from the Communications Unit of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, I am Fennel Neptune.
One size certainly does not fit all, especially where education is concerned. Many have spoken about the outdated school system that exists in St. Lucia. Many argue that a revision of the school curriculum, infrastructure, operating hours, all of the above, may be in order to facilitate a new age of learning. Minister for Equity and Social Justice, Leonard Montoute, supports this viewpoint and says the education revolution is the way to go.
I'm one who certainly believes that we have to review our curriculum. As you said, we cannot continue with the approach that one approach for all. I mean, we have to look at individual differences, weaknesses and strengths, and as such, try to the extent that we can to tailor programs for the various abilities.
The minister says alternative pathways to education and a reformed curriculum can decrease the level of delinquency that is gripping the society.
I'm one who certainly believes that we have to review our curriculum. As you said, we cannot continue with the approach that one approach for all. I mean, we have to look at individual differences, weaknesses and strengths, and as such, try to the extent that we can to tailor programs for the various abilities.
The island's Department of Education says on that front it is pressing ahead with a revision of the national curriculum. This is the Hot 7 Nightly News. Stay with us. There's much more coming up after the break.